welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be applying my tips with the one of the new fall colors. The non-sticky builder gel colors is called Leave It Till Later. I'm going to be using the new silicone tools that they just released. There are 5 that come in this little pack, which I think are absolutely amazing and super helpful for applying the non-sticky builder gel or really doing anything, because these silicone tools are amazing. I have a non-acid primer, and then I also am going to be using the gentle gel base and the gentle gel top coat as well. So everything is pretty much going to be Sundara. Also on my nails currently, I have one of their recently released rubber base coats. I have champagne pink on my natural nails, and I've actually been loving this color. I've been loving this rubber base as well. I currently used to only use NSI, but when they launched their rubber base, I had to try it, and I can tell you that it is amazing. I've tried a bunch of other rubber bases, but they weren't really my favorite, and I did not like them. I've tried at least 4 other brands, and I did not like them. So this, other than NSI, this is the only other brand that I've actually really enjoyed. All right. So what I wanted to tell you, we're going to apply with non-sticky builder gel. So when you are applying with non-sticky builder gel, you want to size up just a little bit, just because the non-sticky builder gel is going to be a little bit thicker underneath your tip. So you want to sometimes make the tip just a little bit bigger than you normally would. You see, I'm checking how the size fits that has the black dot, which is my current size, and I'm just getting the one size up from that to make the non-sticky builder gel apply the tips perfectly. And as you'll see at the end, giving just that little bit of room on the edges. See, it's not a lot. I know you can't really see, but you can see just a little bit if you really look. Maybe if you pause it and look, you can see how much space I'm leaving. It is really not a lot of space, but just enough so that the area that the non-sticky builder gel is going to fill will be just enough to make it fit and not be too big still, or make the tip too small, because then it will lead to other issues. I also, for this one, I'm pretty sure I kept the same size pinky, because my pinky usually fits pretty well if I do that. Also, these tips are half matte underneath, but I do still like to prime the tips. So what I did was I just buffed off the shine from the non-sticky builder gel, or from the rubber base coat that I have on my natural nails, and I apply a peel base underneath of my tips, because I have found that works out really good for me when I go to remove my tips. And I've had a lot of people ask me how long I can wear them. I've had no issue with longevity wearing this gel peel base underneath my tips with anything. They do not come off until I take them off. The longest I've had a set on is 14 days, and I still had to pop them off myself. I had no pop-offs. I am obsessed with this gel peel base, and I suggest it to everybody that is looking for longevity in wearing tips, heavy water users, if you're like a hairdresser or a nurse and you constantly have your hands in the water, but you still want to make your removal and application of your tips just that much faster without having to soak off or file down or whatever have you, I highly suggest this, because I've had no problems and I really, really love it. So on top of the peel base, I'm going to apply a thin layer of gel base coat, which is just going to make it that much easier to pop off. I used to apply sorry, my neighbor just got home and her dog is going crazy. I used to just apply whatever adhesive I was going to use to apply the tips on top of the peel base, but I've found that putting a gel base coat on top of the peel base has actually helped it stay but still pop off a little bit easier. If you do want your tips to last like 3 to 4 weeks without doing a fill or messing with them or anything, I would suggest skipping the base coat part, but that's totally personal preference. All right, so next I'm going to apply a primer to the inside of the tips because that will help the non-sticky builder gel adhere to the full side of the tip. Since I am going to be using a glitter non-sticky builder gel, I want to keep the glitter on the entirety of the nail. So instead of it just being at the part where it attaches to my nail, I like the non-sticky builder gel to go the extent of the clear tip so that the clear tip is no longer a clear tip and it will be a glitter tip, like a glitter base. And I actually wore my tips like this for about 5 days before I even put any color over them because I was just enjoying the color of the non-sticky builder gel. So I just put the primer on all of the nails, which I would suggest doing right before you do your peel base, because now I have to be really careful because to not get any hairs or anything stuck in my nails because they have the peel base, then they have gel base on them, which is cured, so it's super tacky on my nails right now. So you just got to be careful when you're doing that, but I would suggest applying the primer on the tips before you do that part. Now we're gonna get to the non-sticky builder gel. So here is what it looks like. It is a translucent, almost a transparent. It's got a hint of orange, but the gold glitter in it is just so, so pretty. It is the perfect fall non-sticky builder gel, and I love it. I also wanted to show you what it looked like in the jar. It is super, super pretty. The glitter is gold and orange, and if you've been on my channel for the last few videos, you know that I am obsessed with the color orange. So anything orange, I just like have to have it. I don't really wear a whole lot of orange personally, but I like orange things. My bathing suit's always orange. I have a lot of orange stuff at my house, and my husband is just like trying to get me to get rid of orange things. But anyway, so here, that's the tools. These are some of the tools I'm going to be using to apply the non-sticky builder gel. So I hadn't applied the non-sticky builder gel, this particular one. I hadn't used it to apply my tips yet, so this is my first go around, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now that that is way too much. A little bit goes a long way when you are applying tips with non-sticky builder gel. That is way, 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 way too much, as you will see as I start to get into it. So what I like to do for my process, I scoop a bit out, and I like to put it to the entirety of the tip, flatten it out as thin as possible, and spread it out for the entire length of the tip so that I can get everything to start adhering and kind of have a starting base point when I apply the tip to my nail. This is just like way too much. So you want to make sure that when you're applying it, you are trying to not get a lot on your skin, and you really don't want to be using your fingers like you will see me do a little bit when I take my glove off. You want to try to minimize the exposure of any product to your skin because you don't want to develop an allergy or expose yourself to possibly getting one. But as y'all see, that applied so easy. If I would have just put the right amount on, I would not have had the same problem that I was having with it being so much. But it was easy to clean up, and it rubbed off or wiped off really easy, so I didn't really have any problems. The only thing is I was doing this with my non-dominant hand, and for me, everything's just a little bit harder when I'm using my non-dominant hand. I feel like my brain doesn't really work the right way quickly or all the time. And when I'm recording, I get kind of nervous sometimes when I'm doing something like this because I want to show y'all the right way to do things. But when I'm doing my nails, and I have been doing them for about a little over almost 2.5 years now, I've been doing them, and I just don't really think when I'm doing stuff. So I use a finger cot usually when I'm doing this, but I decided to just throw a whole glove on just to make it easier for myself, but it wasn't end up actually being easier. Also underneath the nail, so now I fixed the sides, so now I'm going to want to fix underneath the nail, and of course he's going to start blowing out here. Goodness, he's so obnoxious, my neighbor. Anyway, he's crazy about his yard, and the leaves are starting to fall here, so he is about to get crazy. If it gets to be too loud, I'm gonna go inside. Alright, so now I had to come inside, so now you might hear my kids, but it's better than the leaf blower outside. Anyways, so with applying the non-sticky builder gel, so non-sticky doesn't mean it is like not sticky. It just means that it is not quite as sticky as like your regular builder gel, and it's moldable and pliable. So it's got a little bit of a tacky layer, but it's not like a super sticky layer, I would say. But when I was doing this, I almost decided to not post it because I didn't think that I put enough in it for you guys to kind of see how to do it or what I was doing. But when you put the right amount, as you'll see when I get to my last nail, it's definitely not this hard, but I wanted to show you that even if you put way too much, you can just kind of peel it off like I'm doing and just make sure that you're checking underneath the nail as well, making sure that everything is kind of off your skin and pretty much just laying flat on the nail, using your silicone tools to push the non-sticky builder gel down and flatten it out and make it even, and just kind of getting it to where you're comfortable with it. And then after you get it to where you're comfortable with it and everything looks good and you're happy with how it's sitting straight on the nail and all the things, I go ahead and I cure it. So that's what I went ahead and did for this nail. I just went ahead and cured it. So here's what we're looking like. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the pinky, and then I do a couple of nails off camera, and then I'll come back for the index finger. But for the pinky, another method is to just scoop it from the jar and put it straight on the nail. And then that was still even just a little bit too much at the base, so I should have flattened it out. And if I would have done that, it probably would have applied perfectly. But that is another way to do it, is to just scoop it out of the jar and then apply it to the nail and squish it up the nail. Because if I'd have flattened it out, all the excess that I'm scraping off would have went towards the tip initially, and I wouldn't have had to scrape it off at the cuticle line, if that makes sense. So you just want to make sure that you're scraping everything off your skin, because you really just don't want anything to cure on your skin. Also, you see how I'm touching it with my fingers, what I was telling you. I try to not do that, especially on camera for you guys, because I really want y'all to use gloves and be safe. But sometimes for me it's just easier to touch things and have like all my senses working, because the sense of touch when you're doing the nails is just, to me, one of like the most important things. It helps my brain process what's actually happening versus having to rely on the glove. So I get everything kind of how I want it. I get the tip. I just hold it. I've used the clips, but they don't really hold it as tight as I'm holding it with my ring finger. So I just kind of get everything how I want it, push everything down, get everything flat, and then I put it in the lamp and I cure it. So after I cure it, I'm only curing it for about 30 seconds just to make sure that everything is like secure and it's not going to budge, bump, move. Because once I get it exactly how I want it, make it straight and everything like that, after I've checked all my angles, I really don't want it to move, because then I get upset when it moves and I did all that work. So I went ahead and did my ring finger and my middle finger off camera, and I found this video on my phone that I actually came back and did my index finger. So I figured that was enough nails to upload this video for y'all to see. So I got this one pretty close to perfect. You scoop it out and you see it's not a lot at all. I use a little bit more than I used for the pinky, and then I take the tool and I push it up the nail. That is key. So if you do, this is the way that I found works the best. You grab some out of the jar, wipe it up the tip, because the tip has the primer on it already, so the tip is already ready for you to put the builder gel on there. And then you just apply it to the nail, push down from the cuticle line up to the free edge, and look at how beautiful that applied. Not a ton of spilling out at the cuticle line and not a lot of excess at the top. Everything kind of worked out great, and I only sped it up just a little bit, and you see how much less work I had to do with that finger. It only took me a whole hand to figure it out, but we got there, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand in the lamp for the full 60 seconds to get the full cure, to make sure that everything is fully cured. You want to make sure that anytime you're using gel products, they are fully cured, because undercured gel can cause a gel allergy and your nails to pop off, and nobody wants either of those things. So we're going to go ahead and toss this bad boy in the lamp. Make sure that everything is cured nicely, everything's looking good, everything's straight, and everything will cure, and it will be looking super good when it comes out. So I guess I play around with this a little bit, making sure that it looks really good. It was looking like it was just a little bit bumpy, and I kind of try to make the underside really beautiful too because it's going to be staying on there. So I make sure that everything kind of looks really good. So now that I've got everything all cured nicely, everything is straight, everything looks really good, I file the excess at the cuticle line, wipe everything off, and then I make sure to file the excess gel that could have seeped out at the cuticle line to kind of seal everything in, and then make sure everything looks really good. But you want to wipe off that little bit of a tacky layer that you'll have before you file. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply a gentle base coat and the gentle top coat to the nails, and then I'm going to come back and show you the results at the end. Here we are, completely finished. They are super dry, so excuse that, but I wanted to show y'all before I put cuticle oil on. I cut my finger just a little bit while filing, but look at how beautiful they look. Now here is I'm going to put some cuticle oil on so y'all can kind of see how it looks afterwards. But y'all, this is like the easiest way to apply it, and I did it with my non-dominant hand. Everything is straight and pretty, and I don't even have to put anything on. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks for spending some of your day with me, and I will catch y'all in the next video.